Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that takes the lead in today's edition for Friday, 10th January 2025, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. Defiant opposition to Venezuela's Maduro's swearing in on Friday, 10th January, renew calls for international support. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's a service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. Venezuela's embattled opposition has vowed to overcome fear and President Maduro's plans to be sworn in for another term. Defiant leaders are renewing calls for mass demonstrations and visiting the White House to rally international support ahead of Maduro's inauguration, all set to take place on Friday, 10th January. However, opposition contestant Edmundo Gonzalez claims to have won in a landslide. Details in this WION News report.
But opposition contestant Edmundo Gonzalez claims to have won in a landslide. Gonzalez visited the White House in an effort to pressure Maduro into ceding power. He said he had a fruitful meeting with the outgoing President Joe Biden and is in contact with U.S. President-elect Donald Trump.
Our team is in contact with President Trump's teams for some time now. We will continue on the same path because our relations will also be very close and beneficial for the relationship between Venezuela and the United States.
In their meeting, Biden and Gonzalez agreed that his campaign victory should be honored through a peaceful transfer back to democratic rule. There was also a warning from Washington that Biden would be closely following the regime's response to demonstrations planned on the eve of Maduro's inauguration. The White House said Venezuelans should be allowed to express their political opinions peacefully without fear of reprisal from the military and the police. Venezuela's government has labeled U.S.'s support for the opposition as grotesque and slammed Biden for backing a violent project. Venezuela has also severed diplomatic ties with Paraguay for expressing similar support for the opposition. Opposition leaders accuse Maduro of lacking legitimacy. Maria Corina Machado has said that all the regime has left is fear, adding that the whole world knows that the rightful president-elect is Gonzalez.
The future of democracy in the Americas is being defined on Venezuelan territory in these hours. This is how crucial what is happening is. We all know who the president-elect is. Everyone knows it. The Venezuelans know it. The armed forces know it. Maduro knows it. The whole world knows it.
Although Barbados and the Caribbean have been under severe cyber attacks, the response has been very limited to non-existent due to a lack of resources. That's according to cybersecurity expert Neil Hines. CBC's Rachel Agard attended the opening of the Caribbean Digital Forensic and Cybersecurity Summit 2025 and filed this report.
Cybersecurity and information technology are not the same. So says President of Digital Technologies and Services LSC Neil Hines. He says, given the many breaches Barbados and the wider Caribbean region have experienced over the last year, it shows the vulnerability in the system. And Mr. Hines says in every organization, there needs to be at least 2 people qualified in cybersecurity to fend off such attacks.
Boards, as well as organizations, the management, they don't get to understand that aspect. They think that, is IT related, pass it on to the IT people. And they're overburdening those IT people because those IT professionals basically, they don't know where to go. So if somebody say, hey, we got an attack. That's a normal phishing email. Don't worry about it. That's your wrong approach.
President and founder of the Cyber Doctor, Dr. Stephen Boy, says his assessment reveals while efforts have been made, more needs to be done to boost cybersecurity. He calls for further development of the people and processes.
We have started to do the right things, but we need to get to where we need to get to through things like what we're doing this week with the summit. And so I'm looking forward to working not only with the private sector, but the public sector in ensuring that they're leveraging technology more efficiently, more securely to meet the needs of not only the citizens, but also, most importantly, protecting the information of the citizens and visitors and throughout the CARICOM as a whole.
And Managing Director of CARISEC Global, Edward Millington, says the interest in protecting digital infrastructure is there, but more buy-in is required across the entire landscape.
It's not really our culture at this point in time, and we must be honest, cybersecurity is not our number one priority. If you look at the government itself, there's so many different programs and businesses to fight every single day, but it's still very difficult. It's still not our culture. We have a number of breaches, but still it has not raised the level of awareness that is needed to the continuing effort in terms of implementing cybersecurity, different postures to help prevent cybercrime.
The summit runs for 2 days and will end tomorrow with an in-depth question and answer segment. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick,
in association with our friends at
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Barbadians are heading to healthcare providers and pharmacies in their numbers, seeking relief from respiratory illnesses. Chief Medical Officer Dr. the Most Honorable Kenneth George says there is a slight uptick in respiratory illnesses on the island. However, he says this is completely normal at this time of the year and there is no flu outbreak in Barbados. Dr. George is advising Barbadians that there are ways to protect themselves from coming down with these illnesses. And the Chief Medical Officer also responded to concerns being raised nationally, which suggest there is an outbreak of respiratory illness in China involving various viruses, including human metapneumovirus. He says Barbados has received no reports from the Pan American Health Organization or the World Health Organization to support the claims of an unusual increase in respiratory illnesses in China.
As you know, it's flu season in Barbados, and flu season corresponds to flu season in the Northern Hemisphere. And we have seen a slight uptick in fever and respiratory symptoms in persons 5 years and older by epidemiological read. And for persons 5 years or younger, there is no cause for concern. So there is a minor uptick in the cases of fever with respiratory symptoms. These viral infections are caused by droplet infections, and people cough and sneeze, so respiratory etiquette is absolute. And you need to wash your hands. Washing hands immediately, it prevents gastrointestinal illness, but it also prevents respiratory illness. And persons should be careful how they touch their hands and faces. If you're unsure, you could mask up, but masking is certainly not a mandate. We have moved away from that. We're in a different atmosphere. COVID numbers are down to a minimum, but we will continue to test for it here in Barbados. We encourage doctors to use the nasopharyngeal swab to make the diagnosis and not to use rapid tests, because rapid tests cannot give you a full picture of what is taking place, and we prefer nasopharyngeal swab. And we will report to the public if there is any cause of concern. There is none at the moment, but because we're having a lot of visitors entering our shores, that's the way disease spreads, and we have to be very careful.
Price gouging will not be tolerated, says St. Kitts and Nevis' Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew, as he responded to complaints made via the news media that some merchants had hiked prices on some products to such an extent that consumers were paying more for the products now than before government reduced the VAT from the 17% to 13%. Glenn Bart of SKN Newsline reports.
The VAT reduction was implemented to provide some relief to consumers, but over the Christmas and Carnival periods and into January, various individuals had complained about what some merchants in Bastille had been doing. Responding to questions during his 7th January roundtable with news media representatives, Prime Minister Dr. Drew described such action as unfair and promised he will have the matter scrutinized.
We are going to get out there because this cannot be acceptable. How can you have a savings for the people and then you, as a trader, wants to keep the savings? No, this is totally unacceptable. Well, I am going to some of these and I want to see, because I'm going to ask customs to show us how much it was paid for and what is the markup. I'm going to ask customs to do their jobs and call out those who have done it. I'm asking the traders, you will benefit because there will be a boost in volume. Why not pass the savings on to the people? That is not fair. For those who are engaged in such, I will not accept that. That is not fair to the people. The savings are to go to the people. And you will benefit in the end because people will buy more. You'll have cheaper prices, which will increase your demand. So we drop the VAT, and as soon as we drop the VAT, you carry up the price. And you had that product before there was any shipping issues. And we said that there's a drop in inflation that we are now experiencing across the world. So I want to thank you for bringing that. And I want the media to help. Go in the places, see it, call them out as well. The media has to help us with this. Call them out. Why are you carrying up the prices when the government has dropped the VAT? That is what you call price gouging.
The government's reduction of the value-added tax is expected to be in place for a period of 6 months. Glenn Bart reporting for SKN Newsline.
The Customs and Excise Division of Antigua and Barbuda, meantime, is basking in the record revenues it realized in 2024, raking in $502.6 million. Comptroller of Customs Raju Bodu says this 25% increase over the previous year's figure is phenomenal. ABS's Andrea Athil de Souza reports.
The Customs and Excise Division reached a historic milestone, collecting 502 million EC dollars in 2024. That's 100 million more than the 402.5 million collected in 2023. The 25% jump marks the first time the department has crossed the $500 million threshold. Comptroller of Customs, Raju Badu, spoke exclusively with AB Today. He says the growth is not only phenomenal, but unlike anything he has seen before.
This is the first time, even in my almost 39 years of civil service experience, and never seen this kind of a growth.
He credits his team and a booming economy for the achievement.
One of the major factors that has also helped in collecting that kind of revenue is the robust economic activity that we have seen in the economy. Major tourist arrivals, already the news are out that we are in for a record tourism year of 2024. The tourist arrivals have a direct effect on our revenues because the consumption levels will go up and we need to import. The second factor that has contributed is the robust construction activity in the economy. Wherever you go in Antigua and Barbuda to the nook and corner, you will see somebody constructing something. So this has really helped.
In addition, fiscal measures such as limited exemptions, taxes on alcoholic beverages, and the 2% increase in ABST have also contributed, he says. Badu also credits the online waiver form implemented last year as an initiative to streamline processes and overcome obstacles. Plans for 2025 are already underway. Badu says the team at Customs is focused on strengthening weaknesses and building on the momentum of an above-exceptional performance in 2024. Andrina Athel de Souza, ABS News.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean.
In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.